Everyone.
Good
The
afternoon.
time is now 12 p.m. and I will call the June 8th, 2023 meeting of the District of Columbia Board of Ethics and Government Accountability to order. I am Bega Board Member Felice Smith. Bega Chairperson Norma Hutcheson is not available to join us for the meeting today, and I'll be presiding over the meeting in her absence. This meeting is being held virtually via WebEx. Joining me today for this meeting are board members Charles Nottingham, Darrin Sobin, and Melissa Tucker. Together, the four of us constitute a quorum for this meeting. Since it was first posted, the meeting agenda for today has not been changed in any way. Please take a moment to review the agenda. Is there a motion to adopt today's agenda?
I'll offer the motion that we adopt today's agenda for the June 8th Bega meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we adopt the agenda for today's meeting. If no one has any comments or suggestions, all those in favor of adopting the agenda, please signify your approval by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Hearing none, the board has adopted the agenda for today's meeting. Before us today are the May 4th, 2023 draft meeting minutes. Will a member make a motion that we consider approval of the meeting minutes?
I'll offer the motion that we approve the minutes for today's meeting.
Will someone second the motion?
I'll second that motion.
The minutes for last month's meeting.
Correct. The minutes from the May meeting for approval at today's meeting.
Right.
It's been moved and seconded that the board consider approval of the May 4th, 2023 minutes. I'll give the board a moment to review, ask any questions about or suggest changes to the minutes. If no one has any comments or suggestions, all those in favor of approving the May 4th, 2023 meeting minutes, please signify your approval by saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, the board approves the May 4th, 2023 meeting minutes. Next, we will hear a report from the Office of Open Government. OOG Director Niquelle Allen will provide the report on behalf of the office and is appearing virtually via WebEx. Director Allen, please proceed.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Presiding Member Smith and members of the board. I am Niquelle Allen, Director of Open Government, and I am pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Open Government, or OOG. Since the last board meeting, OOG has continued to fulfill its mission of ensuring that all persons receive full and complete information regarding the affairs of the District of Columbia government and the actions of those who represent them. The first item is Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act advice rendered by the office. For advisory opinions and formal legal advice, the first item is Open Meetings Act formal legal advice on secret voting. On May 31st, 2023, OOG provided formal written legal advice in response to a public body's request for advice on whether, under the OMA, they could elect its officers by secret ballot. The OMA expressly states that secret ballot voting cannot occur during electronic meetings. Pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-5773, all votes must be taken by roll call when the meeting is electronic, remote, or a hybrid meeting. Moreover, voting via secret ballot is contrary to the Open Meetings Act public policy, which entitles the public to full and complete information regarding the affairs of government and the actions of those who represent them. This includes the right to observe a non-public, non-secretive vote electing members of the public body. The OOG advised that a secretive ballot vote is tantamount to a closed session for which there is no exemption under DC Official Code Section 2-575B1 through 16A. There is no provision under the OMA authorizing the closure of a meeting to conduct elections via secret ballot voting. Also, in a similar context, the Office of the Attorney General, or OAG, has opined that the election of advisory neighborhood commissions officers by secret ballot is unlawful. The OAG's opinion is instructive authority regarding the question. Open Meetings Act formal legal advice on public charter school board meeting recording. On May 18th, 2023, OOG responded to an inquiry asking whether the Open Meetings Act requires meetings of public charter school boards of trustees to be recorded by electronic means. Because they are public bodies per DC Official Code Section 2-5743, the Open Meetings Act requires that all meetings of public bodies, whether open or closed, shall be recorded by electronic means, and the recording shall be preserved for a minimum of 5 years, provided that if a recording is not feasible, detailed minutes of the meeting shall be taken and preserved for a minimum of 5 years. And that's found in DC Official Code Section 2-578A through B. The response further cited my guidance on the DC Public Charter School Boards on August 30th, 2021 on the retention of a public body's meeting records and the public inspection of meeting records under the OMA. To comply with the OMA, the trustees of a public charter school board must either post a meeting recording on their website or provide the recording to the public upon request. Like other public bodies that must post meeting minutes within 3 business days of a meeting under DC Official Code Section 2-578B1, a board of trustees of a public charter school has 30 days to post detailed meeting minutes. Informal Open Meetings Act and Freedom of Information Act rendered by the office. Since the last board meeting, OOG has responded informally via email or telephone to requests for assistance as follows. OOG responded to 7 requests for Open Meetings Act advice, 8 requests for FOIA advice, and 6 requests for technical assistance with open-dc.gov. The next item is remote meeting monitoring. OOG attorneys attend remote public body meetings to ensure compliance with the Open Meetings Act and to inspect public body websites and OOG's central meeting calendar for public meeting notices and records. We provide legal advice on Open Meetings Act compliance and take corrective action if necessary. During May 2023, OOG's legal staff attended 29 remote public body meetings. As a result of the monitoring, 11 instances of written corrective measures were taken. The public bodies failed to do the following: 1, post meeting agendas; 2, provide access to meetings; 3, provide meeting links on agendas; 4, cite Open Meetings Act regulatory statements; 5, conduct roll call votes prior to going into closed session; and 6, fail to provide dial-in numbers for virtual meetings. The next item is training and outreach. The first is World Press Freedom Day. On May 3rd, 2023, Paralegal Brown attended the World Press Freedom Day. The celebration, hosted by the Washington Post, highlighted the work and experiences of journalists around the world. The second item is the Office of Human Rights Training Series. On May 10th through 12th, 2023, I attended a manager's mandatory training series offered by the Office of Human Rights. Each course covered 4 hours of material. On May 10th, 2023, I completed workplace discrimination training. On May 11th, I completed understanding the ADA and DCFMLA training. And on the 12th, I completed EEO counseling and best practices training. The next item is National Institute for Trial Advocacy training. On May 16th, 2023, the OOG staff attended opening statements, Let Me Tell Your Real Story, hosted by the organization. The training provided best practices on organizing and presenting opening statements. The training focused on developing a deeper understanding of the first substantial opportunity to tell the story of a case, what is the truth and what will be told during trial, and how to present facts you're confident will be established. Council on Government Ethics Laws training. On May 18th, Attorney Skirbo and Paralegal Brown attended the FOIA roundtable hosted by Kogel. The discussion provided the latest updates on artificial intelligence and its impact on the open government. DC Open Government Coalition digging into DC. On May 24th, 2023, Attorney Wild represented OOG during the Digging into DC event hosted by the DC Open Government Coalition. The event was held at the Martin Luther King Jr. Memorial Library, and it is the first of a series of community conversations the OOG attorneys have invited to attend and participate in as presenters. I, along with Attorney DeBerry, Attorney Scarborough, and Paralegal Brown, attended the event. The next item is a legislation and litigation update. First up is litigation. Phillips versus the District of Columbia regarding the alleged Metropolitan Police Department watch list. As I've reported, Amy Phillips alleged in a federal Section 1983 action that MPD, or the Metropolitan Police Department, maintains a watch list targeting certain DC FOIA requesters. Now, this case has taken on a local DC FOIA element because on May 17, 2023, Ms. Phillips moved to amend her complaint to add a supplemental jurisdiction state claim under DC FOIA. The original complaint alleged U.S. constitutional violations only. The plaintiff motions to amend and her proposed complaint red line version are in Dropbox. The next case is Washington Post versus District of Columbia lawsuit regarding records arising out of the Capitol insurrection. As I previously reported, the Washington Post legal entity, WP Company LLC, sought certain records related to the Capitol insurrection, including the mayor's WhatsApp messages. The Post argued that the mayor's own search of the phone was insufficient, as employees within the mayor's office should have conducted the search, and the only affidavit certifying that the search was conducted does not come from the mayor herself. Judge Scott disagreed with the Post and granted summary judgment to the district, finding that in relation to the sufficiency of the search at issue, the search is quite frankly adequate when reviewing the entire record. The order is in Dropbox. The next case is Fraternal Order of Police versus District of Columbia. I have also previously reported on this case, which is noteworthy because the dispute involved a rarely litigated DC FOIA provision whereby a public body shall not be required to expend more than 8 hours of personnel time to reprogram or reformat records, according to DC Official Code Section 2-532F1. On March 17, 2023, the parties reached a settlement and filed their stipulation of dismissal, which is in Dropbox. WP Company LLC versus DHS, Bill of Fees and Cost. In this case, on February 6, 2023, the United States District Court for the District of Columbia awarded the Washington Post legal entity $55,741.55 in court's costs and attorney's fees, though this is only 60% of the amount the Post had demanded, against the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of State. The Post alleged that those agencies had wrongly denied 34 FOIA records requests submitted between 2018 and 2020 concerning official expenditures in housing and travel for the Secret Service's presidential detail. The agencies argues that the delays were justifiable, caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, but the district court, applying Judicial Watch versus the Department of Commerce, concluded that its four-factor rubric warranted granting fees and costs to the Post. First, the benefit the public derived from disclosure of the records, the commercial benefit to the requester, the plaintiff's interest in the records, and the reasonableness of the agency's withholding. That was a mouthful. Judge McFadden's opinion is in Dropbox. The next section is the legislation and administrative policy making section. The first is Fidelity and Access to Government Communication Clarification Emergency Temporary Amendment Acts of 2023, DCX 25-56 and 25-91. These measures became effective without the mayor's signatures, extending the corresponding laws from the last council period that clarify that the district's record retention laws cover electronic communications. The emergency measure expires on June 22, 2023. The companion temporary measure is under congressional review, and June 13, 2023 is a projected law date. Both bills are in Dropbox for your review. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security issues body-worn camera policy. On May 22, 2023, the United States Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas issued a department-wide policy on body-worn cameras, and that memorandum is in Dropbox. Model Public Health Emergency Authority Act. On June 1st, 2023, Attorney Weil observed the informational meeting organized by the Uniform Law Commission's Drafting Committee for the Model Public Health Emergency Authority Act. The current draft is in Dropbox. An entire earlier draft of the Model Act contained a reference deferring to the state's open records exemptions. The proposed Model Act is expected to be called up for final reading on Saturday, July 22nd, 2023. Attorney Weil has observed the drafting process since last year and plans to watch the final floor debate and roll call for the states and territories. FOIA rules for the Office of the Attorney General, or OAG. Effective June 2nd, Attorney General Schwab promulgated rules governing DC FOIA requests to OAG. These new rules, Chapter 13, Title I of the DCMR, are substantially similar to the mayor's rules governing subordinate agencies, which is in Chapter 4 of Title I of the DCMR. The principal differences are as follows. One, a modernized fee schedule for search and review, including a more detailed breakdown of pay grades of employees involved, and that's in 1 DCMR Section 1308.1. Second is a requirement that all requests be submitted through email, postmail, or the online public access link, the FOIA Express portal, and that's 1 DCMR Section 1302.1 2.3. Third, in the event of a vacancy in the Freedom of Information Officer position, the designation of the Chief Deputy Attorney General as the receiving agency for DC FOIA requests, and that's 1 DCMR Sections 1302.1.2, 1308.8. And the fourth change is a slight change to the standard for withholding under an applicable exemption. While the mayor's rules required the need in the public interest to exercise exemption, 1 DCMR Section 406.1b, the Attorney General's rules require a public interest in order to disclose in spite of an exemption, and that's in 1 DCMR Section 1300.3. Like the mayor's rules, the Attorney General's rules encourage employees to provide records informally without insisting on any particular format for a DC FOIA request in the regular performance of their duties, and that's 1 DCMR Sections 400.3.4 and 1300.2.3. And the notice of the final rulemaking is in Dropbox. OOG continues to monitor all relevant legislation and the status of court cases previously reported to the board. The last section in my report is administrative matters. The first item is a new employee, IT specialist Kevin Brown. It is my pleasure to introduce our new IT specialist, Kevin Brown. Mr. Brown joined our staff on Monday, and we are pleased that he has joined us. He has experience working in both the private sector and the government, and he's a proud graduate of Bowie State University. So we welcome him, and we're very glad to have him on board. The next item is Bega 1030 15th Street Northwest relocation. The weekly meetings continue this month regarding our relocation to our new office. I, along with Director Cooks and Chief of Staff Mitchell, met weekly with the Department of General Services project managers and construction team to discuss the progress of the agency's relocation to its new facility located at 1030 15th Street Northwest. During the May monthly meetings, we primarily discussed the AV needs of the new location, and we discussed our needs for data and telephones at the new facility. Construction is actively underway, and several of the meetings have been moved on site. Our new IT specialist also joined us for our meeting this week on Tuesday. The last item is the website redesign launch. As previously reported, Bega has redesigned its website, bega.dc.gov. The website launched in May, and Director Cooks will share the details in her report, and we are very pleased with the result. This concludes the Office of Open Government's June 8th report. I am happy to answer any questions the board may have at this time.
So you guys have been to the new office already, huh? You having meetings there?
I'm still remote. I haven't been there personally. I haven't put on the hard hat and the jacket, but I will be there soon.
Yeah, can't wait to see it.
Well, we hope
Okay,
it'll be nice. Yes.
Okay, if there are no other questions, thank you, Director Allen. And welcome to Mr. Brown. Next, also via WebEx, we will hear from the Director of the Office of Government Ethics, Ashley Cooks. Director Cooks, please proceed.
Good afternoon, Presiding Member Smith and members of the board. I'm Ashley Cooks, the Director of Government Ethics. I am pleased to present this report on the activities of the Office of Government Ethics, OGE. First is an update on the status of OGE operations. The information reported today regarding OGE's cases will not reflect any status changes that may occur because of actions taken by the board during today's meeting. First, open investigations by status. We have 45 matters that are open, 2 matters that are open negotiations, for a grand total of 47 matters. For open undocketed matters, we have a grand total of 3. Pending state investigations by status, we have 31 matters that are closed pending collection, 3 matters stayed pending DC Superior Court case, 1 matter stayed for an OAG False Claims Act case, 4 matters stayed for an OIG investigation, and there are no matters stayed for a U.S. District Court case, for a grand total of 39 matters. For regulatory matters by status, we have 26 matters that are closed pending collection, 5 matters that are open, for a grand total of 31. Again, we have 47 open investigations and 8 matters that are stayed. The number of open preliminary and formal investigations includes 12 new matters. The investigative team has resolved 18 investigations since the board last met. This total does not reflect the number of complaints that were dismissed for a lack of jurisdiction. The quarterly complaint report for FY 2023 quarter 2 was completed and posted to the Bega website this week. A copy was uploaded to the Dropbox for your review. Next are trainings and outreach. First, professional development trainings attended by staff. During the month of May, OGE attorneys and Senior Board Attorney Lynn Tran took the DC Office of the Attorney General's legal ethics course called Springtime Ethics Hour. Senior Board Attorney Tran also took the following trainings: Ethics for Government Lawyers 2023, Advanced Topics in Ethics and Compliance 2023, State and Local Government Contracts, and Discrimination, Harassment, and Retaliation in 2023. General Counsel Raj attended a 3-day training given by the DC Office of Human Rights on discrimination in the workplace, understanding ADA and DC FMLA, and EEO counseling best practices. She also attended an online LexisNexis webinar entitled See How AI is Transforming Legal Work. Investigator Ralph Bradley took a DCHR in-person training course entitled Innovative Thinking. Attorney advisor Fran Van and I completed tips, shortcuts, and what's new in Microsoft Teams. Attorney advisor Maurice Eccles, investigator Bradley, program coordinator Stan Kosick, and I attended an online skill pack course entitled Train the Trainer, How to Create and Facilitate Employee Training. For trainings conducted by staff, since the May board meeting, OGE conducted 2 training courses. The May monthly ethics training course, which had 227 attendees, and the May brown bag session, which had 17 attendees. Last Monday, Senior Board Attorney Tran presented the May Ethics Counselor brown bag session, unveiling Bega's new website and features. A copy of the presentation was placed in the Dropbox for your review. During the month of May, 396 employees completed our online ethics training via PeopleSoft. Since the launch of the Learning Management System in April 2022, 5,871 employees have registered within the system, which is an increase of 746 employees since the last board meeting. The top 4 courses are BGA 923, Board of Ethics and Government Accountability Training, with 332 completions, BGA 909, Conflicts of Interest, 205 completions, BGA 925, Financial Interests and Disclosures, 198 completions, and BGA 920, Advisory Neighborhood Commissioner Ethics Training, 134 completions. We continue to meet with our LRN program manager to discuss ways to optimize the system and increase employee registration. Next is outreach. The new Bega website became active on Monday, May 22nd. The website team, which consists of myself, Director Allen, Chief of Staff Mitchell, and Senior Attorney Tran, reviewed and approved final changes. The new website better reflects the agency's mission and is designed in a manner to make information easily accessible. The website now contains a bold menu in the center of the page, which directs users to the subject area they desire. Each individual page contains images and icons, which provide enhanced imagery and leads users to the subpages. We've received positive feedback on the design and ease of the site. I want to thank the team and their hard work for this big milestone project, and to everyone who offered feedback and support along the way. Next is an update on the Bega newsletter. On Friday, June 16th, OGE will publish Volume 8, Issue 3 of his newsletter, Ethically Speaking. The newsletter will provide reminders of the Financial Disclosure Statement Review Report deadline, inform readers of the ethical issues within the 3 branches of the federal government, and notify regarding enforcement actions taken by other state ethics boards. This issue will be available to the Bega, this issue will be available on the Bega website and via email. A copy will be provided to the board for their reading pleasure at the next board meeting. Next is an update on advisory opinions and advice. First, for informal advice, OGE's legal staff provided advice for approximately 48 ethics inquiries, which is 18 more than approved at the last board meeting. This number does not include responses we have provided to questions regarding the lobbyist and FDS e-filing systems. Formal advisory opinions. OGE's advisory opinion guidance on the financial disclosure statement filing process has been finalized. The office received 1 comment, which was reviewed and considered before final publication. The opinion addresses the history and purpose of financial disclosure filings, who is required to file, including the designation process, how to file a financial disclosure statement, and the importance of reviewing financial disclosure statements to determine any apparent or potential conflicts of interest. Given that the 2023 filing season has begun, this opinion answers some frequently asked questions and concerns. A copy was placed in the Dropbox for your review. Last month, OGE published advisory opinion guidance on recusal. The opinion addresses advice on when a recusal is warranted and how employees can properly recuse themselves to avoid violating the ethics rules. The opinion details the definition of a recusal and provides information on when a recusal statement is expressly required by the Code of Conduct and when a recusal is necessary to avoid even the appearance of an ethics violation. The opinion also addresses what should be included in a written statement and the process after the employee discloses a conflict. The opinion was published on the Bega website and submitted to the DC Register for a 30-day comment period, which expires today, Thursday, June 8th. A copy was placed in the Dropbox for your review. We hope to finalize this version, the final version, before the next board meeting. Next is legislation updates. There's only 1 update on the 2022-2023 budget oversight. There are actually no updates regarding the agency's FY 2024 budget enhancement requests that were submitted to the council. Next are updates on OGE administrative matters. First, OGE staffing. OGE is now reviewing candidates from vacancy announcements for its attorney advisor, investigator, and auditor positions. We expect to start interviews for the auditor and investigator first, and the attorney advisor will occur soon after. As mentioned in the OOG report, IT specialist Kevin Brown joined Bega on Monday, June 5th. Congratulations and welcome to Bega. I'd also like to welcome Hunter Galpin, OGE's legal intern. Hunter is a rising 2L at the University of the District of Columbia's David A. Clark School of Law. Welcome to them both. Next is an update on the office relocation. Our relocation is still underway. OGE and OOG continue our weekly meetings with the Department of General Services and the project management team to discuss the build-out of the space, furniture, and finishes. The proposed move-in date remains July 31st, 2023. Financial Disclosure Statement, FDS. Pursuant to DC Official Code Sections 1-1161.24 and 1-1161.25, public officials and certain government officials must file a financial disclosure statement as a means of transparency and to prevent engaging in conduct that violates the Financial Conflicts of Interest statute. Bega is responsible for ensuring that employees and public officials who meet the statutory requirements file their annual financial disclosure statements. In the 2023 financial disclosure statements were due on May 15th. This year, we extended a 30-day grace period to filers. Any employee or public official who fails to file their statement on or by June 15th will be penalized with a $300 fine. In April, the FDS team sent emails to 4,186 public filers and 4,263 confidential filers announcing the deadline. The number of timely public filers is 3,521, which is 84%, and the number of confidential filers is 3,005, which is 70%. To date, 3,900 public filers and 3,284 confidential filers have submitted their financial disclosure statements. The list of timely filers and those filers who received an extension request will be sent to the DC Register for publication. The list of late filers will be sent after the June 15th filing grace period. The FDS team continues to remind ethics counselors to submit their financial disclosure review reports. Next is an update on lobbying registration and reporting, LRR. Pursuant to DC Official Code Section 1-1162.27a, a person who receives compensation or expends funds in the amount of $250 or more in any 3 consecutive calendar month period for lobbying shall register with the Director of Government Ethics and pay the required registration fee. According to DC Official Code Section 1-1162.30, each registrant shall file a quarterly report concerning the registrant's lobbying activities during the previous quarter. This past month, the LRR team received 11 new registrations and 12 termination reports. Additionally, the LRR team responded to 5 support tickets. The LRR team has been meeting with Octo to identify upgrades to the e-filing system. On May 31st, Octo provided a finalized list of items in preparation for drafting the MOU for e-filing upgrades. Regarding education, Attorney Advisor Eccles and Program Coordinator Stan Kosick will attend the COGO Lobbyist Roundtable on June 15th. The LRR team will provide lobbyist training on June 28th. Notice has been posted on the Bega website and will be sent via email to lobbying registrants. And the last update is on formal investigations. We have one formal public investigation. That is 23-0003F, Henry Medgar Webster. Pursuant to DC Official Code Section 1-1162.133. This is a formal investigation based on criminal information filed in DC Superior Court alleging that the respondent, former Metropolitan Police officer, engaged in first-degree felony fraud when he engaged in unauthorized employment at Whole Foods Market during his tour of duty. Specifically, the allegations state that from January 11, 2021 until April 2nd, 2022, respondent simultaneously collected pay for a job at Whole Foods and reported those hours as overtime hours for the city. On May 15th, respondent pled guilty to fraud and his sentencing is scheduled for July 25th. OGE will continue to monitor this matter and update the board accordingly. Thank you. This concludes the Office of Government Ethics, June 8, 2023 report.
Thank you, Director Cooks. Welcome, Hunter. Glad to have you with us. The public was invited to submit comments in writing by 11 a.m. today. No comments were received by 11 a.m.
Madam Chair, Could I just
Sure.
ask a quick question
Oh,
for Director?
sure. I'm sorry.
No, no worries. I think it's a routine one. I probably should know the answer to this, but when we list the statistics on pending and state investigations by status and also regulatory matters by status, I see that we've got 31 pending or state investigations pending collection, closed pending collection, 31, and then 26 regulatory matters closed pending collection. Are those, do we know whether those collections are past due? Are they on a payment schedule? I know we've sort of seen a little bit of both over the years. I'm just trying to understand whether other, how transparent this is. Do we know whether these numbers are problematic or routine?
So for the investigations by status, the 31, most of those are delinquent debts, which have been submitted to the CCU and which will be submitted again once we finalize our new MOU. Most of them are delinquent. Some of them are new cases. For instance, the ND, the negotiated disposition that the board approved at the last meeting, is within that 31. So it's not necessarily delinquent. It is in payment status via Office of Pay and Retirement Services. There are also matters within that number where people are making monthly payments. So not all of them are delinquent, but again, it includes them as a batch, but because they're all in closed pending collection status. For the regulatory matters that are closed pending collection, those are older matters such as FDS fines and lobbyist fines, where we have also sent those to the CCU, and they're for people who might have left the district and we haven't had the opportunity to get in contact with them, or lobbyists that we don't have the contact information for and we've tried to contact them. So those are those matters, but those, as well as those delinquent investigations, have been sent to the CCU before and they will be sent again.
Okay, yeah, I appreciate that. I just do think it's important. I'm sure others would likely agree, but I'll just speak for myself. It's important that we not only, appear to be exhausting all reasonable efforts to collect these owed and past due matters, but that we're also, demonstrating progress. So I can anticipate that's the kind of question, if we haven't already received it, we would receive it during various oversight activities and by council and others. And just want to encourage the staff to continue to lean forward and do everything, reasonable. Obviously, we don't want to spend $200,000 chasing down a $500 debt. Of course, we want to be reasonable. At the same time, as these numbers add up, it will invite questions about our effectiveness. Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, the next agenda item is a closed session to discuss ongoing confidential investigations pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B14, to consult with an attorney to obtain legal advice and to preserve the attorney-client privilege between an attorney and a public body pursuant to DC Official Code, Section 2-575B4A, to discuss personnel matters, including the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, performance evaluation, compensation, discipline, demotion, removal, or resignation of government appointees, employees, or officials pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B10, to deliberate on a decision in which the Ethics Board will exercise quasi-judicial functions pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B13, and to discuss contract negotiation strategies pursuant to DC Official Code Section 2-575B2. May I have a motion to enter into executive session?
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded that the board enter into executive session. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion passes unanimously. Board members, please log out of this session and log into the WebEx for the executive session. Once the executive session ends, we will return to this WebEx to report out any matters decided, finish any other business, and adjourn the meeting. It is now 1:09 p.m. and we're back on the record. The board approved negotiated dispositions in 23-0029P in Ray L. Samuels and 23-0046P in Ray B. Smith. The board has opened a formal investigation in 23-0143C in Ray Larry Garrett. This concludes the meeting of the DC Board of Ethics and Government Accountability. The next meeting will be held remotely via WebEx on July 13th, 2023 at 12 p.m. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.